Hi, folks. I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today is Thursday, um, 21st of March, 2024, and I'm just walking in a neighborhood here, um, which has a lot of family history. Just walking along, getting a little bit of vitamin D, if you like, and I thought that I'd do a video for Israel only. Um, so this video is for Israel only, and it's about my days here of prophesying, which are just quite incredible. Um, this is not an ego thing or anything like that. As a matter of fact, when I prophesied, it's just, you know, um, it's a job like another job, if you like. But of course, this job is a divine job, if you like. So this is not an ego thing or anything like that, but just a video, just letting you know in case you're wondering, you know, what it's like to have prophesied some big things, like, for example, like the 144,000 Melchizedek recently, in which God ordered me to decipher that. So um, even though I wasn't sort of like prophesying, doing a video and saying this to you people, to you Chachamim directly, then it's another form, if you like, of prophesying that, God ordered me to decipher Melchizedek, and so I did that, and that's pretty much the same as me saying Israel, Melchizedek was, and is to come Jesus, if you like, just like King Solomon prophesied the wisdom of God in his book of Proverbs. So it is a different way of prophesying, but nonetheless, it is prophesying. So this is the key point that I want to make of this. There are different ways of prophesying, and God has given to each of his different prophets and prophetess as well, women prophets, throughout the ages, different assignments, different things to do on God's behalf. So all of us have had different roles. I must say that I started off as a minor prophet, and I actually did ask God once that I wanted to be a prophet, actually, and I'll talk about the story in a minute. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that, it's hard to fathom even for myself all the things that I have prophesied and deciphered, and I even say, Bible secrets. How many people know for sure 100% that Melchizedek was, and is Jesus to come? How many people know about this prophecy of Haggai regarding the third temple that I just deciphered and things like that? I just mentioned the 144 and many, 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 many other prophecies that I have said, and Bible prophecies that I have deciphered, and are prophesying as well. And so it's amazing. I'm trying to find the right way of saying this. This is not an ego thing. It's just you just take it all in your stride, and when you get given an assignment like this, you feel very joyful. Like that little box of joy in your heart lightens up, and you just say to yourself, wow, this is awesome, but at the same time, you live with fear of God, and it's those two things. So it's when you put those two together, it's quite exciting. although I asked God, you know, when I when I had that channel prior to this one, that I wanted to be a prophet. I remember going to a shopping center. It was kind of like midday, and it was actually an Aldi shopping center um, in Ryde or Gleisville, not far from where I live. And I remember, in my prayers in the car, just driving to the shopping center, saying to God that, I wanted to be a prophet and that I missed my chance and that I'm never going to be one, and I was so disappointed. And but when I went to the shopping there, I bought a few things and I came home and my debit card was missing from my wallet. And that was the first test of 5 that God tested me under. And I thought to myself, should I go back? If I go back and find that debit card, then this was a test from God, I thought to myself. And sure enough was. I went back within like half an hour. I turned back and my debit card was there inside the parking lot. I'm actually trying to see later on if I can trace my Google timeline or something like that to see when that might have been. I think it was just prior to the COVID. I would say maybe in the summer of 2019 or 20 Australian time, something like that. I just can't remember, but that was my first test of 5. And look where I am now in a short period of time as a mature prophet now. So yeah, it has been an amazing journey. And God has given me so much. As a matter of fact, today I'm going to be deciphering when I get home sometime later this afternoon or evening. I'm going to be talking about prophecies in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and 32. I have found some amazing stuff there. See, a lot of time when people read the Bible, especially the book of the prophets, like Jeremiah, for example, people begin to read the chapters and they follow the context from 1 or 2 verses, and then they fall into a trap thinking that all the verses belong to the same dispensation, in the time of Jeremiah, but not so. There are many verses in Jeremiah that are for the church age, even for the tribulation period, the time of Jacob's trouble, and also for the millennial kingdom. And one of the best ways to study the book of the prophets is to actually have the Bible in your computer. And I don't have this, but I just study the Bible with the Bible that I have. But if people were to sort of like read chapter by chapter and then highlight all the verses that belong, say for example, to the dispensation of Jeremiah, then the church age, the tribulation, and the millennial kingdom, and then if they separate those into separate folders, and then they can read the whole book of Jeremiah that belongs, in the dispensation of Jeremiah, under the law, and then what Jeremiah said for the church age, for the tribulation period, and also for the millennial kingdom. So if you can make separate folders with all the chapters, and you can just read, you can make up, separate books or what Jeremiah prophesied for, when the first temple went down, for the church age, for the tribulation and the millennial kingdom. Now, deciphering prophecy is very tricky, and it comes with experience, and it does help if God gives you a leg up as well. So that's why you got to believe on Jesus, to get the Holy Spirit in you, to be able to discern, and to ask God to help you along the way, because it can be very tricky. Like I was saying earlier, that people fall into the trap, for example, of reading the book of Jeremiah and then they read a few verses and think that everything that Jeremiah said in that chapter applies to that dispensation or that period of time, but not so. And yeah, like I just said, it comes with experience, and it's very important that people are able to decipher and discern each of the prophecies in the book of Jeremiah and others like Isaiah, because then you're not going to be able to find Bible secrets, if you like I have. Like, I decipher a lot of stuff in the book of Isaiah, and I'm pretty sure that some of the things that I decipher there, people are not even aware of, not even top-notch Bible scholars, and they might not even be able to interpret the meaning of those prophecies as well. So sometimes it just takes a special someone who God is using to decipher some of these prophecies, and so that's the way it is sometimes. But yeah, just getting back to my just getting back to my prophesying journey. But I want to say be very careful with the book of Isaiah, because Isaiah is very poetic in his style, and he goes, say, 2 or 3 verses. He can talk about one dispensation or maybe a few more than that, and then quickly go into another dispensation and things like that. You just got to be so careful when you decipher about prophecies. That's why it's important that when reading all the books or the prophets, that you read one Bible prophecy at a time and think about it in terms of in which dispensation it belongs to, and follow the context and try and work out when the context finishes for one dispensation and it begins another. That's also very important. It's very easy to fall in many pitfalls when you are deciphering Bible prophecies. It takes a lot of you got to be very cunning, I guess, for if I can put it by using that word. You got to be sometimes be very clever in picking things up. Sometimes some of these things are even hard to explain, but all the words in a prophecy matter, even if it's plural, even the grammar, how it's written. Everything matters in a prophecy. You just have to be ultra careful when you decipher them, But I thoroughly enjoy this, and that is where God has me right now, deciphering Bible prophecies and prophesying and things like that. But although I asked God that, I was disappointed, like I said in my story earlier, that, I missed my chance to be a prophet, and God proved me wrong that one day I was going to be. Then, with the things that I deciphered so far and have prophesied as well, it's beyond amazing. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I thought, okay, well, if God just gave me maybe 5 or 6 or 7 things which I have already prophesied or said, either in prophesying or my work with Bible prophecies and things like that, then I would have been just happy for all eternity. But God has given me big things, and I wonder what the future holds, of more big and maybe even bigger things to come. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's exciting, and yeah, it's always a thrill when God gives you something to decipher or to prophesy. It's always scary, there are days when you doubt yourself. It's difficult to prophesy when you got to write things down. And then of course I think of all the major prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Daniel, how they wrote so much prophecy. That is actually, in my view, the hardest way to prophesy, having to write things down. because then what happens is that God has to allow you the knowledge. For me, it was like, I guess it might be a little bit different for every prophet, but for me, for example, when prophet said to you, Israel, it is rightful that you fulfill the end times, then that took almost like 2 weeks of God allowing me the knowledge, and then I wrote the notes down, and then I had to find the courage to say that, and that's when I got my baptism into a major prophet, and you do feel the difference. There is a huge difference from being a minor prophet to a major one. A major one, the level of fear increases a lot more. You fear God a lot more because things are major now. The stakes are a lot higher, and so yeah, you do feel the difference. And being a minor prophet in those size, when I was talking about the rapture and talking about the 144 and so many of the other things that I talked about. And now when I began with It Is Righteous, then that changed everything. So yeah, that was big time. And I'll never forget the day when I prophesied 144. And also I'll never forget the day when I prophesied to you, Israel, begin now. Now, that begin now was just incredible. I mean, it was like a waterfall just coming out of me. The Holy Spirit in me saying to you, Israel, tell them to begin now, And yeah, that was just one of my best ever prophesyings, because it was just so natural, so yeah, it just came out with such force. So it's even hard to find the right words. It was just like sometimes you feel like you're a genie out of the bottle, so to speak, because I never expected this. Like I never thought that I would say to you, begin now. That just came out of the blue, and so yeah, like I'm not afraid of prophesying to you, Israel, because whatever God gives me, then I have to do the work of the Lord. So I'm never going to be afraid of prophesying. But yeah, it's the fear of God now, it's a lot higher now. And I guess with my last video in which I said to you, send me your 7 prayers, and in the mail you don't have to tell me what they are, because prayers are supposed to be private, but just write down prayer number 1 in a bit of paper, known unto God and Israel only. And then when you get to the 4th one, you might ask that to be prophesied, if that is your wish. If you don't wish that, well, you can just ask it as a prayer. But that's a good thing, because it opens a door for you, Israel, to ask God through me, a mediator, a prophet, to ask God, for outcomes that you want for Israel, or for people that are very sick, elders, and things like that. And also it opens a door for God, an opportunity for Him to prophesy to you. So it opens doors for you, Israel, and God as well. And this is very important, because being a mediator between you both, between God and Israel, is that God has given us free will. And that's why God is sending His prophets as mediators, if you like. So I hope that you understand this. It's a way of opening doors. And it also keeps me sharp in prophesying, especially with your 4th prayer. I already know a lot of things anyway, so it's, if I have to prophesy, it is what it is. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what God's going to give me there on the track. Although I did say to me my prayers to God In recent times, you know, things heating up in Israel. You know, I'm wondering, God, you know, yeah, what I'm going to prophesy to Israel, because I read my Bible and I read things, and you know, um, so yeah, it's not a worry. I mean, I will prophesy whatever God gives me, but how I see the geopolitical and the prophetic unfold. Um, I have asked God, the future of prophesying for me looks very interesting indeed. Let me put it that way, Israel. Uh, don't think that I don't think about these things into the future. Of course I do. I'm a prophet. Look at all the things that I already have prophesied to you. And so I do think about the future. I do watch a lot of news on YouTube from people who seem to know what they're talking about and things like that. And so I do have my conversations with God, about the future, or my worries about how things are gonna end up turning out. But I'm not scared of prophesying, and it's an honor to do all this work for the Lord, and I can't imagine what my rewards are gonna be in heaven. Like with all the things that I have done, all the work that I have done for God. I mean, it's gonna be amazing at the Bema Judgment Seat of Christ. It's what God has given me is just amazing. Like just all these things to prophesy, all these biblical decipherings. I never expected it to be this big. Like I said earlier, if God just gave me 5 or 6 or even 7 things, I would have been happy for all eternity. But so much, and it is amazing and very rewarding. And I don't know that you have any other major prophets now except for me, because of all the big things that I have said. Like to you, Israel, it is righteous. Begin now and fulfill the word of God by protecting the people of Israel, and do it as it is written. So, and of course, I told you many other things as well. When I was a minor prophet. So, yeah, the journey is amazing. And I hope there's more to come. So, and I'm having my conversations with God to prepare me to learn the knowledge, for the times ahead, which are going to get more interesting, as you and I know Israel very well, especially if we study Bibles, right? So, yeah, I guess this is all I wanted to say. Yeah, it's amazing. I don't think that there are major prophets out there. Maybe prophets, yes. Maybe there could be other minor prophets, but major ones, especially with what God has given me, I don't know 100% for sure, but I will doubt it, because the things that I have said so far, I just told you it is rightful, begin now, and as it is written, and so on, and Melchizedek and Haggai, and so much more prior to that. Then that is big stuff, and I don't know that there is another major prophet. I could well be Israel's last major prophet. As God willing, I go out at the rapture of the church, so I could well be Israel's last major prophet. But that's not to say that there could be other prophets out there prophesying. This has been prophesied as well in Joel, so, and also in the book of Acts. So it is possible that there could be other prophets, but major ones like myself, I doubt it. Like, I say this, of course, without any ego or any, and only I say this because of all the major things that God has given me. And if He's using me now, then why he used another macho prophet when he's already got me now saying all these big things? So, I mean, if you take a moment just to relax for a bit and just think about Melchizedek alone. I mean, the honor of just prophesying that Melchizedek is, was, and is Jesus. Yeah, that's just incredible. So I could well be Israel's last major prophet. You know, I asked God to turn me around when I was a minor prophet. I asked God to turn me around to prophesy to you because I was getting very annoyed, to say the least, and very disappointed when I was doing so many videos to inform the church about the rapture of the church. And although I don't watch many YouTubers, I watch some that I think who has some common sense in them. And you know, I do a video, and then the next day, it's like it's imminent. Nothing is needed. I mean, we got so many Bible prophecies impending and in front, yet these people say nothing is needed. You know, so yeah, that just infuriates me like you wouldn't believe, Israel. That just, it's like kryptonite to me. You know, I can't stand those people that keep saying this. You know, but anyway, I forgive them. They are my brothers and sisters in Christ. But in my wrath, I ask God to turn me around to prophesy to you. And as a minor prophet, yeah, He changed me around to you, and He turned me into a major prophet to prophesy to you, Israel. No longer minor, but a major one. So that in itself is amazing. All right then. So I'm gonna be walking back to my car now and go to the shops and things like that. I'm ending this video now. Yeah, this video, Israel, is just in case you're wondering, you know, what it's like to be a prophet. Yeah, of course, you are on your own on this. Perhaps you know the only person in the world, and yeah, it is very intriguing and all the rest of it. But this is not something that you take up with your ego. That's why God is very careful in who He chooses to do this kind of work. I don't have an ego in any of these things. It's just like as God gives, I give, and then you move on to the next thing. And time is just flying. It's just you haven't even got time to fathom any of this. Like when God gave me Melchizedek, I was so happy and joyous. But you know, I now have moved on. You know, and then I did Haggai, and that in itself is probably one of a Bible secret, you know, that not many people have worked out. I mean, imagine Israel, you know, the people in Israel, if they find that out, you know, I mean, the political implications, which I don't even want to think about or talk about, which are even just scary to even contemplate. But that's why I ask you to keep these videos private, because Moses and Elijah, it's their job to prophesy for Israel during the tribulation period. Is not my job. So, and I know that, and I have nothing regarding the soul as in my spirit. So, but anyway, yeah, just I guess I'm just gonna finish up by saying that it is incredible. Perhaps I'm the only mature prophet, or Israel's last mature prophet here in the end times before Moses and Elijah come. So that's about it, Israel. Thanks for watching. Keep all these videos secret. You know, because you know, I'm prophesying to you now, and you know, some of the things I say here are only for you, and you know, yeah, it's you know, just to finish up, you know, without saying other things, you know, yeah, it's yeah, it's it can be scary at times, you know, like especially with you know with the things that God gives me, you know, all that knowledge and stuff. Yeah, I know that in there are many Bible secrets, but I don't want to say that they are secrets. because I have to have a level of holiness unto God in order to remain being a mature prophet. But the Bible is not secret. It's just that God has given me things and giving them back to you, Israel, and you decide how you want to do with all those things. My job is to be as holy as I possibly can unto God. All of us are sinners. We live in the flesh, but my sins are at the cross, like all those other people that have believed on Jesus. And one day we'll get a glorified body and we'll be perfect just like Jesus. All right, Israel. Thanks for watching, and I'll do more videos later.